most guys secretly dislike about women on top position. Number one, you can actually smash up his joystick because as far as sex positions go, this one is relatively very dangerous. If he's going to get his pistol broken during sex, it will happen through this position when you're blissfully bouncing away and it could just pop out of the coochie and you slam down on it, poop. It happens, not often, but it happens. And that's really excruciatingly painful for most guys. All right, enough of that. But understand that somewhere in the back of his mind, it's freaking him out a little bit, especially when you're enthusiastically bouncing away widely without even taking into consideration that this could happen. Trust me, his eyes are wide open and his hands are probably holding on to you for life to prevent that from happening. Number two, men dislike the fact that your hair is too long or your hair is long. Now, he thinks that if you've got a long hair, it's going to hang in front of your face and get all up in his mouth during sex. That's why sometimes they take it off for you or they just hold it into a ponytail for you. I mean, just finding a hair in your mouth can just ruin a meal. Imagine how it can ruin sex. Even if he isn't spending his time eating your hair, there is a very good chance that it's tickling his face and getting in his eyes. So for the love of all that is holy, please bring a hair tie, because men tend to worry that they would sound, like ungrateful jerks if they brought up issues like this. Number three, another reason men secretly dislike women on top position is the fact that he's in a very vulnerable position if you decided you wanted to murder him, especially if he has done something bad and he doesn't really believe that you've fully forgiven him. Women on top position may not really be it because he's on his back and you've got your full weight on him. You could pin his hands down and do whatever you need to do. So what if you hid a knife behind the headboard? All right, I'm just kidding. Not everyone thinks about this, I'm hoping, but still it could happen. Number four, another reason that he could secretly hate this position is that, sure, it is hot, but it's also stifling for some men. You're on top of him, he's all sweaty. It really can't be a good look for him, all right? Number five, he doesn't have a view of your butt. And this is truly an impossible dilemma. If he has a view of your front and then he can't appreciate your back, it's a shame. But it is one that can be easily remedied with a mirror or turning your bedroom into a giant mirror cube so that he can get a view of whatever that he desires if he's an ass man. Number six, some men may not fancy the woman on top position because you're digging your elbow into his chest. Sometimes for leverage, we as women, we tend to push our hands into a man's chest, like you're giving him some sexy CPR, or you find out that your elbow is wedged firmly into his rib cage. It's not ideal because it hurts and there are not enough sex endorphins in the world to mask that pain that your bony elbow brings when it's pressed against a soft, smooshy chest like that, okay? He may not tell you, but it can be very distracting. Number seven, it can be tough to get the rhythm down for most men if you're on top because you're probably the one in charge and you may not be as fast as he would like it to be. Maybe he's used to setting the pace and trying to thrust up. You're trying to get your hips going at the same time and you're crashing into each other. So whatever the reason is, sometimes this position just doesn't click for some men if you're not a pro at it. Number eight. Now, I think this could be another reason in the fact that, you just want to grind against his joystick. And as we know, the clitoris is not 5 inches deep into the coochie. As such, you are often going to want to grind against his joystick, grind against your partner's joystick in this position. And yes, it feels good for the women, and that's great too, but it probably wouldn't get the job done for him since the standard in and out sensation feels better for most dude. It feels good, but it isn't actually doing anything to the man. It's like an airplane crash position of sex. He practically is not having much sensation from you just grinding his joystick. All right, number nine, cleaning up is the worst part for him at this list. Now, you're going to get off on him, and it's pretty much a guarantee he's going to get some fluid on his stomach, especially if you're the type of woman who squirts and you have your fluid all over his chest and in his belly button. I mean, his belly button. So he might just be irritated by it. Okay. Number 10. And lastly, this position, that's the cowgirl position, could be a recipe for brain trauma. Now, this is what I mean. If you're very enthusiastic in bed, it's entirely possible that you will be riding him and slamming his head into the headboard, especially if you're not paying attention to him while riding. So if you're that type of woman, it might just be a good idea for your man to just go post-sex brain checkup, because you might be banging his head against the headboard, and that could cause trauma at some point in time if you do it consistently and he's not even complaining about it. Anyways, these are some of the possible reasons men hate the woman top position. Okay, I'm just saying. All right, then, catch you on my next episode coming up sometime really soon. You know how we do it. Okay, be right back. Mwah.